Hey! This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. We are so glad to have you with us. Thanks for being a part of the program today. Oh, boy, I guess it's a freaking game day for Los Broncos.
How could you tell?
I think it's a game day for the Broncos because Bo Nix's uncle just showed up and was like, yeah, I'm his number one fan over here. Orange Crush jersey. Got the blue undershirt on. I mean, you're going full on.
I've been on Bo Nix since the Auburn days.
Sure you have.
Yeah. All in.
Oh, my goodness. Where did he start out, though? Was he somewhere else before Auburn?
Oh, no. His dad is an Auburn
I know.
legend.
I'm just saying,
he went to Auburn.
I can't remember if he was –
just like every team in the SEC, failed to live up to expectations.
Goes 5 full years.
He's a bum. They send him packing. All he does is go to become an All-American at Oregon and a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Goes full –
2 great years at Oregon.
Yeah. Goes like a full 5 years, goes 2 more years at Oregon.
Yeah.
And then they're like, wow, he played 67 games. And everyone's like, don't you see there's a problem there? Like the math doesn't add up to be like a normal college career. They're like,
he has a pension now.
Yeah, but a winner. But what a winner.
He was in college long enough to get a pension.
He did. He got the Oregon.
He's got tenure at Oregon.
He got the Nike pension for being there. Oh, my goodness. Uncle Phil. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. JJ, everything good, though?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
like
man.
I said, you got Broncos-Raiders tonight, Thursday Night Football. We got a great weekend ahead. I'm really excited about this BYU-Texas Tech game. My goodness. We haven't seen a BYU game with the stakes this high in a long, long time, maybe ever. I mean, right? We've never seen BYU in a game in a top 10 matchup.
Yeah, it's a little bit disheartening because I think
in
just
Power Conference with the college football playoff spot on the line.
Yes, but it is a little disheartening because tell me if I'm wrong too. The vibe is definitely shifting toward Texas Tech, right? And I think there are a lot of BYU fans who are feeling like, and maybe it's because of how last year went down, right? They go, hey, college football playoff rankings come out, we're undefeated, all these things. And they know what it's like. They know what can happen. My thing is I think you're going to lose a game. It's probably going to be this weekend, all right? If you're going to lose a game, it's probably going to be this weekend. The question is how do you respond after that? You can't have a double dip. You can't afford a double dip. The only way that you get to Arlington is if you get one mulligan, which is what you get in this conference, I think, for BYU. And so it's an interesting deal because it is – and by the way, Utah was what, a 10.5-point favorite last week against Cincinnati?
Yes, we saw that went.
Guess what Texas Tech is? 10.5.
That's the updated, yes.
So I'm
10.5 point.
That's a double digit at home, and they may not be wrong. You know what I mean? Like this is a Texas Tech team that, weirdly enough, their back is a little bit against the wall, right? Like you're talking about.
Oh, they're more desperate than BYU. To win
for
this
sure.
game. There's no
for
question.
sure, and that's why I think that, and that could be a total. I don't know. I'm not trying to assign wins or losses before the game's even started. But what I'm saying is that it feels like, and maybe it's the cynical, just like sports watcher in me that goes, it feels like BYU's luck might, that makes it sound terrible, like they haven't earned it. They have. But do you know what I'm saying, though, that feeling of it feels like this might be the week that it just catches up with you.
So what you're saying is you feel like BYU's been on borrowed time.
A little bit, right?
Okay.
And I'm not saying that because they haven't earned the things that they've gotten. They have.
I think this is why, and I think there are a lot of BYU fans listening right now. If you're honest, you felt the same way.
Yeah.
And the reason is this team has trailed big in games pretty consistently. Like the blowouts have not been there, You want to call West Virginia a blowout? They only won by 2 touchdowns at home.
Yeah.
And I know they were up bigger, but the fourth quarter felt weird, right?
Yeah, they didn't play
You
super
go to
clean,
Colorado, who's not good. I mean, East
3-point
Carolina,
win.
you win 34-13, but what was the score at halftime?
It was like 10-7 or something.
You don't get that
like
pick six. I get why fans are feeling that way because this team has had to come from behind. They've had multiple. They were down 14 against Colorado, down a couple touchdowns against Arizona, down against Utah going into the late third, fourth quarter. They were down 14 at Iowa State. They've had to come from behind. They've had to battle back. They've had to be resilient. They've had to overcome adversity. But they haven't just absolutely boat raced anybody that matters.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest thing I think that fans are hanging on. It's like, okay, we keep getting by. It was kind of like last year, the Oklahoma State game. That was a bad Oklahoma State team. Found a way to win it. Each and every week last year, it felt like just trying to get to the next week.
But you see, too.
And then eventually your luck runs out. And I think that BYU fans probably feel the same way this year as they did last year. But I think they should have more confidence this year than they did last year.
Yeah, do you see but do you also see the thing that happens too is that in a game like that's going to go on this weekend, they're coming off of a bye week. But LJ Martin, everyone's a little bit nervous about like they're like, yeah, he's going to play. The news is he's going to play. But then everyone's like, but what version of LJ Martin are you going to get?
110 yards and a touchdown?
That's
the version you need.
That's the one you need, but I don't know if people feel confident enough like that's the guy you're going to get. I don't know. You know, it almost feels like he's going. He's going to go regardless. He's going to go and he's going to play. And it just doesn't feel like he's going to be 100%. Regardless, though. We got to start this thing off officially. I mean, we're going to continue this conversation, but let's get it going and let's get the cut officially underway. Let's start it up right here. Let's jump in. Top of the program. Officially, let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. TRAJANwealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement. TrajanWealth.com. All right, number 7 BYU at number 8 Texas Tech. Let's start off with some things that from a coaching standpoint that were said this week. A-Rod talking about Texas Tech and that defense because that is a team that obviously is very different from the one that they beat back in 2023. Here's what he said.
This is the best defense we've played probably since Texas in 2023. I'd say they're right up there with those guys. This D-line, they're freaks, and they're really good players. Their linebackers are great. Everybody knows that. Good secondary. They have no personnel weaknesses. They have a very good scheme, very well coached. I have a lot of respect for their defensive coordinator. They don't really have any weaknesses, and they get turnovers, man. They strip the ball as well as any team I've ever seen.
Ooh, a little love fest for Texas Tech, but it's all right. I mean, it's all exact.
We saw it firsthand up at Utah.
Yes,
I've never seen an offensive line at Utah, in recent memory, manhandled the way they were.
Ones that are an offensive line that is of this caliber.
Right.
That we were like, and by the way, I was talking with Napolis, our producer, before the show, and I was looking at a projected first round NFL draft. And Spencer Fano, number 8, Caleb Lomu, 16.
Right. That's one of the best offensive lines in the country, and Texas Tech owned that match.
Well, and it was kind of the wake up call that O-line needed going forward, right? That was 100%. Like when they started to decide, you know what, we are not going to lose games like this anymore. This is not going to be us the rest of the way. So, yeah, I mean, obviously they present something that's very, very difficult, and now there's no version of mistakes. You can't have the pre-snap penalties. You can't have a bunch of holdings. You can't have anything that's going to set you back to be 3rd and 14 against a team like this because it is just difficult. And A-Rod knows this. He talked a little bit about how much execution is going to matter against Texas Tech.
Well, we just have to execute. We have to stick within our identity. When you play a defense this good, you try to have some wrinkles for them, but at the same time, if you do too much new stuff, then you're not going to play fast. And so we're trying to find that right balance of having some things that give them trouble, but also stick to our core identity and be physical and execute our core things. And that's really what it's going to come down to is just those individual matchups, every player executing a block or executing an assignment. I'm sure it's going to be the same thing for them. They're really good.
I wanted to bring something up that Tanner Wall, BYU safety, talked about with this because he's obviously a guy who's been on this team for a while. And First of all, here's what he said about what their offense presents, because I do think that if there's going to be – like the defense, I think, is better than the offense right now. Is that
no, it's –
I think it's
fair.
I think Baron Morton is not 100% of what he has been before.
Freshman was probably more dynamic because he could run.
Yes, and so I think Baron Morton hasn't totally – they have exceptional weapons on offense. But here's what Tanner Wall said about the Texas Tech offense and what they look like on film.
From a defensive perspective, I guess evaluating their offense, they got a lot of great personnel, two good running backs that they use. Their tight end too, number 7, gets a lot of good yards after the catch too. He had some big plays in the Kansas State game. Some great receivers for Morton to throw the ball down the field too. But just pretty balanced offense. I feel like they're able to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers and get good chunk yardage plays, and they've consistently showed that on film. So yeah.
Great. Now, this was the more interesting thing that I thought was said by Tanner Wall. He talks about last year's team and how they want to avoid having just that 9-0 start is one thing, and he talked about why he thought that they stalled out last year at 9-0.
I think last year we might have gotten stuck in a little bit of a mindset of a play not to lose instead of a play to win. You know, we were 9-0 and we're in a position. I think some guys just kind of got on their heels a little bit and we're too much in that mindset of playing not to lose. So we still got to have a, attack mindset where we're out there playing to win, knowing that no team's going to just, hand that to us. So we got to go attack it. And every game we play, we got to take it.
What do you think about that? The idea that maybe last year they got into this whole kind of just defend the undefeated record as a, I don't know. I think that they have shifted the mindset, and they're going to have to, because being undefeated and then losing one, you could easily lose a second one because people smell that blood in the water, and then they want to know what adjustments you're going to make, and then they attack whatever the things were that you did poorly the game before, whatever it might be. But with BYU getting ready for this one, JJ, it feels different because Texas Tech is not Kansas, obviously, from last year, right? And so prepping for Texas Tech, I think, is it's actually a better situation. Not that you wouldn't they don't take their opponents lightly, but if you're going to take an opponent lightly on that schedule last year, it was going to be Kansas at home in Game 10, right? That was one that people looked at and went, okay, you're coming off of a win at Utah. Kansas is coming in. They got 5 losses already or whatever it was at that point in the season, and I think they may have taken them a little bit lightly. Jake Retzlaff had his worst game. It happened to be in that game number 10 against Kansas, and he had a couple of throws that basically handed that season away, which is unfortunate because that's exactly how this is looked at. Make no mistake, BYU fans, BYU is still looked at like it is a lesser program compared to the ones that are in front of them in the college football playoff ranking, and even the ones that are behind them, right?
Yeah.
They are looked at as a program that is kind of a cute, nice little kind of – I think people picture BYU like they might Boise State in their head. Does that make sense? Even though they're in a Power 4 conference, I think they picture BYU and go, yeah, that's small potatoes. We're Notre Dame, man. Yeah, BYU, that they're faking it for a minute because we're Oklahoma, man. We deserve to be up ahead of those guys, right? Even teams right behind them are sniffing and hoping that BYU fails and stumbles because they look at BYU like one of the teams that they are going to be able to jump easily into the college football playoff. And they've got to kick that mindset of being smaller potatoes versus some of these other programs. And the way you do that is winning big-time games. This is the first top 10 matchup of the history of your program. They don't happen very often, and obviously they've never happened. And you can't – two things. You cannot just think to yourself that the stage is too big for you. And then you also can't think to yourself, if you lose this game, then the season's over because they have everything still in front of them even after a loss, which is also a tough thing too because I hope that the team doesn't get in their head, well, we can lose one, and then we're still going to be fine because you have TCU who's going to be sniffing you out the next week. You've got, after that, a trip to Cincinnati, who now gets their whole season back if they can continue to win. If Cincinnati wins out, they're in a spot to be in the Big 12 championship game. So it's a wild situation to think of BYU being in this spot. But the way you kick the idea of you being a smaller program compared to these other places. I think the way you do it is it's not just winning games like this, but it's bouncing back and making sure that you make a game out of it and that you respond if you do lose this game.
I think you're on target with what you said with BYU's perception. And I don't know if they feel that way, but I think it's probably fair that college football fans around the country that are watching the college football playoff rankings look at BYU at number 7 and say, "Really? Why?"
I know.
What? Why? Why are they ahead of Oregon? Why are they ahead of Texas and Oklahoma? And they're undefeated. They haven't played anybody.
I watched a whole video today of this guy who's going, look, BYU is easily jumpable in this poll. They have no business. They would lose to Notre Dame. They would lose to Texas. They would lose to Oklahoma.
Was it Pate?
It wasn't Josh Pate,
okay.
But Pate did throw some disrespect BYU's way too that BYU fans are definitely noticing. No, it was just like some rant. I don't even know what it was, but it popped up on my feed, and I was like, man, that's a weird thing to say. Just be like, they would lose to Oklahoma, they would lose to Texas, they would lose to Notre Dame. I'm like, that's 6 losses combined to the teams you just said.
Who those teams beat?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, it just is crazy to me.
Notre Dame hasn't beaten anybody this year. Go look at their schedule.
They've also lost.
Texas barely beat UTEP.
By the way,
shut up.
They also didn't lose to anybody either. Like, you
that
know what
matters.
I'm saying? Like, they lost games to teams that were like Miami is a nobody now.
Look, I'm not at the point, Larry, if you've lost 1 or 2 games, you're not good enough for the college football playoff. I get strength of schedule matters. I get all the metrics. I totally get that. And I think Utah deserves to be number 13 because of how dominant they've been in the games that they've played. They beat 2 top 25 teams by 30 points at home. So they deserve to be where they're at. I'm not taking anything away from them. But BYU is undefeated. And in a big power conference, a power conference that has 3 teams in the top 13.
And that's part of it, too.
Give them some respect nationally. Now, people aren't just going to give them the respect. Back to what you're saying, if BYU wants to be taken more serious and they want to shut some people up and they want to change the perception of when that logo pops up during the college football playoff on the ESPN broadcast, you got to go win a big one.
Yep.
This is the big one. You go to Lubbock, in their stadium, in that environment, and it's a 10 a.m. kickoff?
Ugh.
I know. But that's another reason to go do it, right? Go win a 10 a.m. kickoff in their building with everything on the line and shut everybody up. You go win that game. That's your big-time win. That is a monster win. I don't think many teams in the country can go in there and win right now. Against David Bailey and Rodriguez, that defense is awesome.
Yep.
And that offense is lighting it up. Jacob Rodriguez is incredible. What he did in the Utah game, I was watching, forcing multiple fumbles, punching the ball out of people's hands. These guys are really good. This is a good football team at Texas Tech. And if BYU goes down there and wins, then they'll earn that respect. I get it. BYU needs that big-time win. This is their opportunity to get that. Let's see what they can do on Saturday to win over a lot of those people. Ultimately, they don't have to win over those people, except the people in the committee room, right? If they don't win the Big 12 championship game, they're going to have to win over people in that committee room, and especially if they don't win this Texas Tech game. But if they do, this program could do how high could they go in the college football playoff is what I'm thinking in my head. I mean, there's not a tougher game on their schedule left than this. Again, we'll take it 1 week at a time, but you know what happened last year against Kansas, and this is a totally different deal where Texas Tech is a big-time program. You're not going to have that letdown. Now, to compare it to last year, I talked about this yesterday. The first college football playoff ranking last year, BYU came in at number 9, then they moved up to number 6 after that win against Utah. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're going to be up for that Utah game last year. They're ranked in the college football playoff. They're going to be up for that Utah game. But it was the next week that Kansas came along. Is that when the letdown comes? Because next Saturday against TCU at home, you can't have that letdown happen.
I think you know what though. See, in my mind,
because if they drop this game and then they have that letdown, then we're like, okay, well,
then you're exactly at the spot you were last year, which is
on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and then people, and guess what happens too? People forget about you immediately.
Even BYU fans have a weird feeling about the season, like, oh, were we really that good?
Right. Yeah. Except for before the season started, if you would have had an 8 or 9 win team. I can guarantee you an 8 or 9 win season with this new freshman quarterback.
Year. We thought they were going to win 4 games last year.
Yeah. So expectations are wild,
and they change.
It's pretty funny. I will say though, it is pretty darn fun to watch everybody else in the country try to figure out who this team is, or start to watch a couple of things here and there with BYU, and they go, what is this about this team? Because people hear the name Bear Bachmeier. I was watching Chris Fowler was talking about his prep for game day this weekend, and he's like, I can't wait to say Bear Bachmeier during the broadcast a bunch of different times, and it was really funny to see him talking about that, because he goes, Bear Bachmeier, and then he goes, my friend Keith Jackson would love to have said Bear Bachmeier, during his broadcast. And I thought, man,
that was a great clip.
He was like, Bear Bachmeier. He's wet behind the ears, but he's a good one.
And then he did a Broyles talking about his thighs and stuff.
Right? Yeah.
It'd be funny to listen to another broadcast from the 70s or 80s.
Oh,
and
yeah.
What they said in the booth back in the day.
So for sure.
That was great by Fowler.
It was cool, because you know what it does. Like, obviously, game day coming to a city brings attention to you. The tough thing is that how BYU gains credibility, and the way Utah has gained credibility, is that the conference needs to be more credible too, right? Like, it's hard in the Big 12 right now when teams like Baylor, who you think are going to be good, end up being very mid. When even TCU, that you were expecting a little bit more out of, they're having an okay year. I mean, they're still 3-2 in conference, but they still kind of are determining their own destiny at some point. But it still feels like the conference just keeps coming up a little bit short. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
And the good news is for BYU and Utah, they're at the top of this conversation, which is what we've been begging for. Like, the way you make your rivalry big, the way you make this conference big, is you've got to have dominant teams at the top. And if it's BYU and Utah, and if they can establish that, then it just makes the conference more credible. And then the voters and then all the college football playoff committee people and everything, they don't look at the Big 12 as an afterthought, which is where they're at right now. And I know that in 7 and an 8 and a 13 in the college football playoff compared
that's a breakthrough.
Compared to the ACC's top-ranked team, Virginia, at 14, I know that's a better deal. However, there's still this idea of, yeah, but we'll throw you a bone this week. That was almost like what Mack Rhodes said, and he's in the freaking Big 12 as an athletic director. Yeah, it'd be nice for ESPN this weekend to have Texas Tech and BYU. We wanted to put those rankings up there, so enjoy that. And so it's just everything seems like still a little bit of a slight. You still have to establish that brand as the Big 12. You still have to establish yourself as an individual brand within that Big 12, but the conference needs to perform so that you don't have to have this conversation of, yeah, but the voters are begging for the ACC to get good, and they just can't. Miami can't get there. Florida State sucks. Georgia Tech is who you're hanging your hat on, and Virginia is who you're hanging your hat on. Louisville? I know, and these are not programs that are going to take you to the promised land.
Oh, here comes Pittsburgh at number 24.
They're hot right now, but I'm telling you right now, I'm rooting for Pitt this weekend for sure.
No doubt.
You want Notre Dame to lose a game.
The best thing to happen to the Big 12 would be for Notre Dame to drop a game. And, of course, Texas and Oklahoma, they're going to drop one if you look at their schedule.
Their schedules are so hard.
They're going to get 3 losses. But
you're already hearing the stupid talking heads going, how do we shoehorn in a 3-loss team from the SEC somewhere?
They've got 4 in the top 6, and they've got 6 in the top 12. Come on now. ESPN is pushing that narrative so hard because they benefit from it.
It's terrible.
But I think, what did we talk about at the beginning of the year? What did I pound from this pulpit here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone? That the Big 12 needed to do what? Get 2 teams in this year.
Yeah,
it's time.
Multiple bids. And Brett Yormark talked all about it at Big 12 media.
They're in position to do that.
We're a multi-bid league. I'm convinced we're a multi-bid league. We're not just a basketball conference. I know it, but you got to play it.
It's time for the Big 12 to break through that glass ceiling, get the double bids, maybe sneak in a third. Why not?
They're on pace to maybe look that way. If that's going to happen, then you've got to have the ACC teams. The ACC only get 1 team in. That's where you're at. You need that. You need Notre Dame to be out, because even if you get 5 SEC teams in and 4 you get 5 SEC teams in or 4 SEC teams in and 4 Big Ten teams in, then the other 4 you look at and you go, why not try to sneak in a few more here? Or if the SEC or the Big Ten only gets 3 in, which you could definitely have. These teams right now, they're at some point the committee's going to have to be like, we can't. We're gonna get exposed if we try to sneak 3-loss Texas in. We're gonna get exposed if we try to sneak in a 3-loss Oklahoma team. We can't do it this year. You guys, if you had 2 losses, we could have easily snuck you in and made a case for you. But with 3 losses, it's just impossible.
I think it will be impossible. But I will mention there's only one team in the top 25 that has 3 losses. Guess what conference they're from?
Freaking SEC.
That's right. It's Tennessee at number 25. So if it's going to happen, it's going to be the SEC, and we'll see how it all plays out here. But I think Utah's going to win out. I honestly believe that both BYU and Texas Tech win out after Saturday, no matter what happens.
And Utah, it's not just about winning out; it's about blowing out. Right? We talked about it.
That's what they have to do.
You've got to blow everybody out.
You got to get to number 10 in the college football playoff rankings. That's the sweet spot for Utah. Go from 13 to 10, blow out these teams, win big. If you do that, you're not playing in the Big 12 championship game. You can sneak in the back end there.
So they go to Baylor next week, right? You go down to Waco, and let's say you win that game the way they've been winning games. Let's say it's a little bit less because Baylor's, I think, a little bit better than a Colorado team, for example.
Okay.
At Baylor, especially. So let's say it's like a 35-17 type of a win, and you go, okay, hold on a minute. That was in Waco. Then where do they move up to? Well, it's all about who's losing in front of them.
Texas and Oklahoma have to. They're not going to move ahead of Texas and Oklahoma until those teams lose.
But who's at Alabama? Texas. I think Texas? No, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's at Alabama this weekend.
Texas has Georgia.
And Texas is at Georgia.
Next week. They have a bye this week, and they're at Georgia. Then they finish with Texas A&M on Thanksgiving weekend.
Their season's over. Sark, it's been nice. Sark, it's been
Sark's
cool.
already interviewing for head coaching jobs in the NFL.
Well, no, what he's doing, I'm joking.
joking.
What he is saying is what is he doing in these interviews? I think it's a joke that the SEC only gets 3 teams in. How dare they? He's trying to put his elbows out for extra teams to get in so that his guys will be put in.
Here's Oklahoma's schedule.
At Alabama,
home against Missouri, and then home against LSU.
Oh,
it's not easy. There's a loss there.
There is at least one.
With that, there's a loss with Texas. There's a loss with Oklahoma. There is an opportunity for Utah to climb and sneak in.
Yep.
But you got to win big. You got to impress the committee.
We'll come back. We got more to go. Got a Jazz Daily coming up. We've got Bear Tourney, head coach of the Utah Mammoth, going to join us for his weekly call-in at the top of the hour as well. So stay here, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
You know what's coming.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time.
All season long and even in the off season. It's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Thanks for being with us. Yes, you know what that music means. Jazz Daily, of course, here. And the Jazz last night hit the road. They land in Detroit, and they take a loss in Detroit, double digits. And it's about what we thought was going to be happening. Although it wasn't the 40-point blowout that you had semi-joked about yesterday. There was a part of me that was like tuning in, watching. Is this thing going to get it way out of hand? Is JJ going to be totally right on this thing? But still, a loss is a loss, and they looked a little out of sorts. And the offense, not nearly as productive as it has been in some of these prior games here, JJ, against Detroit.
Yeah. I told you yesterday that Detroit's a really good team, and if you look at the standings, they're right up there at the top in the Eastern Conference. So for Utah to go in there and to win that game was a tall ask, especially with the Walker Kessler situation. Felt like that was a little bit of a downer, right? Detroit Pistons are really good, and Cade Cunningham is one of the best players in the league right now. And that's a team that's an Eastern contender. And when you look at the Eastern Conference with the Pacers and the injury situation of Halliburton, the Celtics and the Tatum injury, and the Orlando Magic kind of struggling right now, you're looking at the top of the East, and it's wide open. I mean, the Chicago Bulls are 6-1. The East is anybody's to win. The Bucks, I think, are still a factor. The Sixers, I don't know if I trust they'll ever get anything together. You feel like the Cavs should be the favorite based on their talent, but they're right there at 5-3, and of course the Knicks are the Knicks right now, and they have a great talented roster. But the Pistons have a great shot to win the East as much as anybody right now in a wide-open Eastern Conference, and the Jazz had a chance to see how good that team was last night. So no surprise that the Jazz came up short. Tough day. I'm just kind of bummed right now.
Yeah.
I'm still Walker Kessler. I've gotten to know him a little bit. and he's such a great guy. And it's rare you see – it's not – rare's not the right word, but he's – in today's NBA, it's hard to find guys that are very approachable and down to earth and humble and will talk to anybody and are willing to do all the little things, do a lot of community things. And it's okay. Like some of these other NBA guys, that they have their own thing, do what they want. But you can't but like Walker Kessler a lot, and he's just a great fit for the Jazz. On top of the development that he's had as a pro, and it felt like he was going to take things to another level this year. He's knocking down threes. His defense was fantastic. His rim protection, and all his stats were increasing across the board at career high levels. And to see this setback was pretty tough. And that's all. That's all I was thinking about yesterday with the Jazz, even during the game. Was it's a bummer. This sucks.
All I could think about too was because Svi Mykhailiuk had a nice game. And I was like, that's not the way you win games. Isn't that terrible? I was like 28 out of Svi, and I thought, well, that's not good.
Hey, I agree with you. Let's give Svi Mykhailiuk some credit because I love stories like Svi because this is a guy that a lot of people thought would be in Europe by now. And the dude is starting on an NBA team. It's got a little bit of that Simone Fontecchio feel to it, right?
For sure, yeah.
This is a guy that just keeps battling, finding a way to stick in the league. And now, not only is he a rotation player, but he's starting for the Jazz. And a lot of
career
teams
night, man.
28 points. A lot of teams around the league, just like with the Fontecchio situation, are thinking, we could use a wing, and this guy is showing that he can play. The Jazz are willing to make a deal. So this is an opportunity for the Jazz to get some value, I'm sure. And until then, you're probably not going to see Ace Bailey play as many minutes as you'd like as a fan. I'm not. I think Will Hardy's doing this the right way. Svi Mykhailiuk deserves to play because he's the better player right now, and he goes out and proves it by scoring 28 points. But obviously, that's blocking a lot of minutes from Ace Bailey.
Yeah, and that's
so
tough.
As a fan, you're like, I want to see Ace play. Well,
especially in a year where you kind of go, and this is the hard part.
You can't just give it to the rookie. He's got to earn it.
I know. Walker goes down, and then you go, hey, man, start playing Ace Bailey. But you also don't want Ace Bailey to play well and to just get not just not play well, but get a ton of minutes and not grow up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you're just getting minutes because it's the default because your team right now is like, we're kind of in, I don't know, shutter down mode's not the way to put it. But at the same time, I think when Walker Kessler went down, there's a section of people's brain that gets turned off a little bit as a fan, right? Yeah. You kind of go, all right. Because, look, you show up to a game, and Walker Kessler's not there, and instead you go, all right, let's see if we can get 17 rebounds out of Yusuf Nurkic. He's a fan favorite. No, which by the way, you got 17 rebounds out of him last night, and 6 points. Taylor Hendricks had 20 minutes almost and 0 points and 0 rebounds. Those are the nights where you go, I got it, man. That was a rough night for guys that you're hoping are going to keep improving. And look, the sky's not falling, but there is part of you that kind of goes, you're exactly right. Why would you try to search for moments to just jam a rookie into a bad situation? Yeah. It's the equivalent. It's the NBA equivalent of just going, well, you're in New York and you're our starting quarterback. Just start playing. You know what I mean?
We see how that has gone.
Right, and Will Hardy, you're exactly right.
Jackson Dart's bucking that trend. He's been great, by the way.
Will Hardy won't abide. He can't.
No, he won't.
He won't abide that kind of stuff.
And he shouldn't.
And that's why he's going to be here long term, I think, right? Like that he's a Jazz guy because he has an organizational mentality that works. Yep. So let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go. We're anticipating at 4:00. Bear Tourney, head coach of the Utah Mammoth, going to join us. Next, though, we have a Would You Rather. Alex Napolis, our esteemed producer, is going to roll out some of the flow chart of how to get some teams in the Big 12 into the college football playoff, including some of the locals here. So we'll get you up to date there. Stay with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the show. Would you rather? Our producer, Alex Napolis, who's Annapolis got to put a headset on. You got to actually participate in this segment. I'm sorry. It's part of the deal. You can't just hide behind your microphone back in Salt Lake City.
I'm here
First
for you
of all,
guys.
happy birthday, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Happy birthday, Alex.
There you go. Happy birthday to our producer, Alex Annapolis. 26 years old. He's now older than all of the Utah Mammoth combined. Nobody on that team's older than 26 now.
You're getting old, Alex.
You would not start on that starting line for the Utah Mammoth.
If you were a pro athlete, you'd be washed.
You are so old, brother. So there you go. Alex Annapolis. Annapolis, help me out here on our Would You Rather. Give me the flow chart as to how BYU and Utah end up in the conference championship game together.
Well, first of all, of course, Utah needs to win out. And then the second question you need to ask yourself is, does Texas Tech win out? If Texas Tech doesn't win out, then it comes down to if BYU wins out. And if they win out while Cincinnati loses a second game, then you can potentially have that Holy War rematch that everybody is looking for.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Okay, and this is the Would You Rather question of the day, JJ. Because I've asked a lot of people this. As a Utah fan, can you in good conscience root for BYU the rest of the way?
You cannot.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got more. It's easy.
Under no circumstances.
Yeah, there's no version of that, right? Annapolis, is that right? Check your fan card at the
Utah
door.
fans would rather go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl than cheer for BYU.
I think that might – for a chance to play in the Big 12 championship game?
Utah fans would rather go to the Las Vegas Bowl than cheer for BYU.
Oh, no, they would not. Oh, no, they would not.
Then cheer for BYU.
There you go.
They'd rather go to no bowl than cheer for BYU.
Annapolis, what do you think?
There are scenarios where BYU and Utah can meet up with BYU losing a game.
It just can't be against Texas Tech this weekend. They
Can't
have
be
to at
against
least cheer
Texas
against Texas Tech.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. There it is. Annapolis, thanks for your input. Happy birthday, brother. Let me see here. More to go right around the corner. Bear Tourney is going to join us next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.